What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you're excited because the Dallas Cowboys, your Dallas Cowboys, my Dallas Cowboys, our Dallas Cowboys are one of the best teams in the NFL. Today, as I'm putting this together, Monday, October 31st, 2022, a very happy Halloween from us to you. Very happy and safe Halloween. Don't know what your plans are. Wish you all the best luck when it comes to treats and goodies and candies and things like that. Got a special Halloween surprise for you later in the show. Recording this video before Monday Night Football, so we have not seen the Cincinnati Bengals or Cleveland Browns. We obviously have not seen the Houston Astros win Game 3 of the World Series. Needless to say, it's a double TV night in my household. Very excited. My wife's making some pulled pork. Just a great time to be alive. And it's a great time to be alive if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. And this is something that we've kind of been coming to terms with over the course of the last few weeks. And obviously Sunday's win for the Cowboys against the Chicago Bears, the 49-29 victory, I just kind of added to that. The offense showing up really was something that we really wanted to see, really kind of needed to see to really and fully and totally believe in this team. And so we're now on the bye. We now get to enjoy all these things like the World Series and all these other primetime games or other sports, whether that's the NBA for you, the NHL, clocks falling back. Maybe you're a big fan of that this coming week. It's always good when you go into the bye and you're heading in there with a lot of wind behind your sails. You look at the New York Giants as an example, who lost to the Seattle Seahawks after we finished our post-game show on Sunday afternoon. It's a little bit more tough when you kind of whimper into the bye, whether the Giants are. They're 6-2. They have all the reason in the world to feel proud and optimistic as well. But obviously, different sort of situation. The Dallas Cowboys right now, second place in the NFC East. And in my power rankings, which will be out on Tuesday at bloggingtheboys.com, they're the fourth best team in the NFL. I've got the Buffalo Bills number 1, Kansas City Chiefs number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles number 3, and yes, our Dallas Cowboys at number 4. We've got the Minnesota Vikings right behind them on their tails. It'll be interesting to see how the Cowboys fare in Minnesota a couple of weeks from now. Of course, between now and then, Dallas will visit Lambeau Field. That one's for Mike McCarthy. So we'll see how that goes. But today, real quick video. Just wanted to, no real flash or razzle dazzle, no graphics or photos or anything like that. Just simple mano-y-mano conversation around the campfire like we like to talk about here. 5 reasons that I should be excited as fans of the Dallas Cowboys. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Number 1, and I know this is going to upset some people, the Dallas Cowboys have a top 10 quarterback. As I take a sip of my coffee. Now, this coffee mug, by the way, has a bear on it. I don't know if you can tell. My dog bear is nestled under the desk. He's a Cowboys fan. He's a little upset about the way Sunday's game went. Dak Prescott, I think this is being generous, saying that he's only a top 10 quarterback. I think you can make an argument that Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback right now, top 7 quarterback at the very least. Obviously, the sample size is incredibly small for him on this season, but Sunday was a very positive step in the right direction. Again, it was kind of what we've been needing to see from Dak Prescott. I tweeted this out after the game. I said that Sunday against Chicago was Dak's best performance since, and I put a question mark here, but since Atlanta of last year, that performance the Cowboys had where they dominated in every single way, this game kind of felt like that. There were nothing but extra points in that game. Incidentally, for the Reem Hairulahu, nothing but extra points in this game for Brett Maher, and so it felt like that a lot. Now, Dak Prescott played some solid football down the second half of the season for the Cowboys, and I think that's being generous. You can make an argument he played well on Thanksgiving against the Raiders. He played fine, certainly very well in some context against Washington later in December. And then everybody had a great game in Week 18 before everything fell apart the next week in the wild card round. But overall, top to bottom, it was just one of the better games we've seen from Dak Prescott in almost a year, depending on how you qualify that. And so that's a big thing. I'm looking off screen at my helmet collection. I got a little mini helmet thing over here. And I'm going to rip through these. Like, how many quarterbacks do we think are better than Dak Prescott today, that are playing better football than him today? We're not talking legacies. We're not talking Super Bowl rings and all things like that. We know there are a lot of quarterbacks who are more accomplished, who have done things that we want to see Dak accomplish here in 2022 or at some point in the future. But Dak is playing at a higher level than Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers right now. That's the point of that argument. I think we all are going to put Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes ahead of Dak Prescott. I think it's fair to put Jalen Hurts over Dak Prescott right now just because the sample size is so much larger. Obviously, Jalen Hurts has been playing the entire season. I understand there's a little bit of generosity there, but I'm okay with that. On the NFC side of things, as I look over at my helmet, Daniel Jones, no. Taylor Heineke or Carson Wentz, no. Kirk Cousins, I'm a believer. I could talk myself into that if I wanted to, but that would be 5. Aaron Rodgers, we said no. Justin Fields, obviously no. Jared Goff, no. Tom Brady, we said no. Marcus Mariota, no. Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, no. Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, no. Geno Smith, you can make an argument for. He's one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. Again, talking about how they're playing right now, I'm not saying I would take Geno over Dak, but you get my point. Matthew Stafford, no. Jimmy Garoppolo, no. Kyler Murray, no. So at worst, at the absolute worst, I think Dak Prescott is the second best quarterback, or playing like the second best quarterback in the NFC right now. I'm sorry, third worst at the absolute worst, behind Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins, if you want to put him there. On the AFC side of things, again, we said Mahomes, we said Josh Allen. Tua Tagovailoa has had some moments, certainly. Nobody else in the AFC East. Lamar Jackson's obviously always dangerous. I think some people might take Joe Burrow. Don't know what Cleveland's going to look like in a few weeks. Nobody in the AFC South, and Justin Herbert's not playing well. For some reason, nobody likes to talk about that. Russell Wilson, obviously not. So, I mean, like I'm saying, it's not hard to get to top 5, top 7. And so if you can put a top 5, top 7 quarterback, think about all the names that I just listed off. I think the only ones who have a defense akin to what Dak has in Dallas are probably Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia and Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. So that combination is one to be very, very, very excited about. Now, moving on to reason number 2, because if reason number 1 isn't enough to get your juices flowing, maybe reason number 2 will be the Dallas Cowboys have one of the best running back duos in the NFL. And I'm not, look, I'm always up for like the like conversation, the argument du jour on twitter.com, right? Like I love to argue and debate and talk about things. And I've certainly been through my fair share of battles on the internet, but I don't see the point in debating Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard. One's got to, like, you can have both. You can have both be a part of your rotation. I do think that there's no question that Tony Pollard has to touch the ball more. I will certainly argue that all day long. We'll talk about that on this week's BTB Roundtable. Just a heads up, this week's edition, our BTB Roundtable here on the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. Please make sure you subscribe. We'll stream live at 5 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, November 1st. We're going a little bit earlier. Look, I'm an Astros fan, but I know a lot of people are World Series watchers and things like that. So we don't want to impact your night in one way, shape, or form. So, just so you know, you can always catch the rewatch or listen to the podcast at your own convenience. But we'll talk about this subject as well as hand out our BTB bi-week awards. We're very excited about that. But name a better running back duo. Name another. And I don't know that I think Tony Pollard is one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. I wouldn't say that about Zeke Elliott, but if Zeke Elliott is kind of your complementary player, I know the Cowboys aren't utilizing him that way. I think that you are in a very good place as an offense. I think that your running back group is in a very good place. The Cowboys can run the ball at will. We saw Malik Davis have small moments of success. And so if you have somebody like Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott splitting time, who's better? I mean, Saquon Barkley individually is better, obviously. I'm a big fan of Devin Singletary in Buffalo. Again, the Bills are very good. Dalvin Cook is awesome. Alvin Kamara is awesome. But is there another, kind of wingman in the Saints offense or the Giants offense or the Bills offense? Maybe James Cook, Dalvin's brother. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to find a backfield. Maybe you believe in Green Bay. It'll be an interesting matchup for Dallas next Sunday, obviously, against Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. But the fact that Dallas has a top 10 quarterback and one of the better running back duos in the NFL, aside from their all-world defense, is certainly enough reason to be excited about this team moving forward. Reason number 3, this is kind of a piggyback off of the first two. A functional offense is only going to help the defense as the season goes along. I read that as if I didn't write it, but I did write it. That's just, whatever. Look, this defense is incredible. You can make an argument that this is the best defense in the NFL. I think it's up there with maybe San Francisco. Buffalo is very good. Philadelphia is very good as well. And so when you pair that with a ground game that is having success with a top whatever quarterback, I mean, the overall kind of chemistry happening here is very special. If you put stock in Football Outsiders DVOA metric, you should, then things are looking really swell for the Cowboys right now. Now, these DVOA rankings are prior to Monday Night Football, so they don't include the Monday night game between Cincinnati and Cleveland. But DVOA rankings entering Monday Night Football, because that's, again, when I'm putting this together, the Cowboys rank 3rd overall in DVOA. They rank 12th on offense. That is up from last week. They were 15th a week ago. They actually had dipped from 14th the week before. But so 12th on offense, 3rd on defense, and 2nd on special teams. So you're talking about a top 3 team on the defensive side of the ball, a top 2 team on special teams. And that's because we're still kind of, it feels like there's a lot of meat on the bone right there, right? Like shout out to Joseph Randall, like Kevontae Turpin still not quite getting there. Brian Anger's done so well. Brett Maher's done so well. Again, we're doing our BTB bye-week awards. There is a special teams player of the season so far, and I had a lot of difficulty choosing between Brett Maher or Kevontae Turpin. And so the offense is catching up. The offense is going to be playing much better. We're not going to be looking at the 12th best offense in the NFL when the season is ultimately over. And that's a really exciting thing. A rising tide lifts all boats, as people love to say. And that's kind of what's happening here with the offense, the defense, the special teams, everything working in harmony. Now, all right, number 4. This one is really obvious, but it's something that needs to be said because it's important. The Dallas Cowboys currently have a 96% chance. I'm going to say that again. The Dallas Cowboys currently have a 96% chance of making the playoffs. They have a 25% chance of winning the NFC East and a 12% chance of winning the Super Bowl. All of these odds courtesy of 538 and their quarterback adjusted ELO forecast. So that does include Dak Prescott, does include things like Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the Giants, and et cetera, et cetera. That's really, really encouraging. And I know that we've all been hurt before. We all have a lot of emotional scar tissue. We've all been burned. The Cowboys have gotten us in the past. And so it's difficult to trust them, but it's hard to look at the remaining schedule. Let's take a look at it right here. The Cowboys are 6-2. They are on bye right now. They are at Green Bay and at Minnesota. They have the New York Giants at home, which means, by the way, in case you haven't done the math, the Dallas Cowboys will play one home game in the month of November. Tomorrow, as I'm recording this, marks November 1st, the Dallas Cowboys will play one single game at AT&T Stadium throughout the month of November. That game against Indianapolis is in December. It's very, very early in December, but still in December nonetheless. That's on Sunday Night Football. Houston at Jacksonville, Philadelphia at Tennessee, at Washington. We talked about this on the postgame show. If you watch that or listen to that, I mean, maybe you're nervous about Green Bay because of the scar tissue, because of the history, because of the emotional baggage. And even besides the Cowboys-Packers of it all, it is going to be a difficult game for Mike McCarthy in some respects, but on the same sort of wavelength, it's going to be a different game for Aaron Rodgers. But so you've got Green Bay, that's tough. You've got Minnesota, that's tough. Outside of that, maybe you think Philly's tough, and maybe you throw out one more just because football's weird at Tennessee or something like that. I think if the Cowboys split those like hard, weird, whatever games, I mean, they're in serious business. And so that takes us back to their playoff chances. 96% chance of making the playoffs. They already have 6 wins. You just need like 5 more, I think. 4, even maybe 4 more. And so it's very easy to get to 4 wins here. The Cowboys have yet to play the entire AFC South, by the way. That's a solid 3 wins. Give them the Giants on Thanksgiving. They've already beaten that Giants team, and that was with Cooper Rush. All due respect to the savior of this season. I mean, it is not hard to find 4 or 5 more wins for this team before the season is over, and that's a really exciting thing. And why do the Cowboys have such a high chance of making the playoffs but not winning the NFC East? It's because of that loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a big thing. It's difficult to overcome. The Cowboys are 6-2 while the Philadelphia Eagles are 7-0. Let's assume the Eagles win on Thursday night to kind of catch things up. They've already had their bye. That would put them at 8-0 and the Cowboys at 6-2. That puts Dallas 2.5 games behind the Eagles because they have already lost that first tiebreaker. Now, the Cowboys could obviously win the second game, but they're going to need some help. They're going to need the Eagles to lose some games down the stretch in order to leapfrog them to win the NFC East. And looking at Philly's schedule, it is even more appealing than Dallas's, which is why it's difficult to see Philly losing enough for Dallas to overtake them in the long run. That's just kind of the way it is. If you're counting, that is 4 reasons to be excited about the remainder of this season if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, which means we have one more. But I mentioned earlier that it is Halloween, and I mentioned that we had a surprise in store. My wife and I, it's our first holiday with costumes with a baby. Our son turns 1-year-old on Thanksgiving, so we're going to go get some candy dressed as Spider-Man, which means I'm going to do the last one here dressed as Spider-Man myself. So if you give me a minute, and if you understand that it is difficult to see out of this thing and to breathe and to talk, apologies for sounding a little bit different, but this is maybe not the life that Peter Parker had in store for himself when he was in high school or whatever it was, but let's go ahead and get to it. So happy Halloween, whatever you dressed up as. I hope you had a great time. This is me doing my thing here. Reason number 5. Now, I wrote this, but it is difficult to see through this mask. But Tyron Smith will likely be back at some point, which will only add to depth where it matters most. Now, Stephen Jones is on 105.3 The Fan on Monday afternoon. Seriously, it's difficult to talk and breathe out of this thing. I mean, it's a fun costume, but, it comes at a price. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not trying to be negative, but this is something that I'll kind of believe when I see, just because of the history with Tyron Smith. Although the Cowboys have had a lot of success this season when it comes to talking about injuries. I did not think Damone Clark would play, and they proved me wrong. So shout out to them. Shout out to Damone Clark. And if the Cowboys get Tyron Smith back, I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. Will they trot him out at left tackle? Will they just keep him on ice? Will they let Tyler Smith keep playing? That is a very good problem to have. And if you can bring an all-world left tackle back in December or something like that, I mean, holy crap, that's a really good thing. That's a really exciting thing. This doesn't even include that James Washington is going to be returning at some point in all likelihood, right? So I don't know. I'm recording this video, like I said, on Monday on Halloween. Again, pretty obvious thing here. So we'll see if the Cowboys do anything at the trade deadline. They've already executed one trade this season in acquiring Jonathan Hankins. I know a lot of people want to see them acquire a receiver, whatever, but help is on the way, which is an exciting thing in the overall. So shout out to me for making it through that with this mask on. I'm just going to go ahead and finish the video with this on, if you don't mind. It is Victory Polo Monday in addition to Halloween. So just kind of an awesome day in the overall. So I can say I've done literally thousands of podcasts and videos and shorts and live streams and TikToks now and reels and spaces and all sorts of different types of content. I've never done this before. So that's a new thing for me. So my name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at RJ Ochoa. Somebody took it on TikTok, so I had to settle for RJ.Ochoa. So you can follow me there. I did have a video today on TikTok and on my Instagram reels wearing the mask. It's actually a cool mask. I wish that costumes like this had existed when I was a kid. It would have been so much more fun. So shout out to kids today. They got all sorts of stuff working in their favor. You can send me an email if you'd like, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com. You can leave a comment down below. We'll do our best to get to those. Also, we'll have a lot of videos coming out this week. The Cowboys are on a bye, but that doesn't mean anything to us. The content machine rolls on just as much, if not more stuff coming at bloggingtheboys.com, here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. Make sure you do subscribe down below, wherever it is. I can't see anymore. Subscribe to the Blogging the Boys podcast network. We have multiple episodes coming out every single day. Leave a rating, write a review. Like I said, the live roundtable this week only at 5 p.m. Central Time instead of 7 p.m. Central Time. And yeah, that about does it. Yeah, I think it's time to leave. At least that's what your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man had to say. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. We'll see you next time. Happy Halloween. Love y'all.